The next element of the marketing mix I want to consider is promotion, also known as marketing communication. And in its broader sense, it means to move forward. There are many tools associated with promotion, but at the moment I want to give you a brief insight as to what you can do with the promotional element on the digital platforms. What you must have is an integrated marketing communications process. Linked with that is your digital communications. But what is digital communications, I hear you say? Well, it's a form of communication that allows you to target specific individuals. And that's one of the great things about the digital domain, is that you potentially know exactly who they are, what they're doing at any moment in time because of the cookie elements, where they're located, what times they're using your site. The interactive element of digital marketing and its ability to target specific customer makes this option very, very attractive for organization. And the difference between this and traditional methods is that it is highly measurable. My only word of warning is that it shouldn't be seen as a standalone process, and as I mentioned earlier on, it needs to be integrated with the total marketing mix. Now, there are very many different types of digital communication processes, and this links to the promotional mix. But the ones I want to go through in detail now are email marketing, telephone, mobile marketing, which includes text messaging, Bluetooth messaging, apps, QR codes, and augmented reality. There are things like waiting room screens that form part of the process, interactive screens, which you'll see maybe at hospitals or estate agents. You could use webinars, games even form part of it. Infomercials, which is really a cross between commercials and the provision of information through websites like YouTube, are also very good. Then there's also your websites, and finally social media. Let's go through these in detail now, looking at email marketing. Don't just consider this as the use of your Hotmail or your Outlook to send messages. There are many platforms out there that you can adapt and use to send highly specific, tailored messages to individuals, which can be measured in detail. Now, the easiest one to go through if you are small and starting out is MailChimp. And again, I'll have a separate lecture on this at another stage. Email marketing uses emails to communicate marketing messages to a group of people. There are strict regulations, however, that you should be adhering to before you do this. So you must make sure that you have the approval of the targeted individual, that you are going to send them piece of information, and you must make sure that they have the option to opt out if they decide that they don't want to receive the information again from you anymore. When it comes to telephone communication, there are essentially two types. The first being cold call advertising, and the second one that you consider is on-hold advertising. Cold call advertising is something that you should consider in detail before embarking on this process, because it can tarnish your brand. A lot of financial institutions, solicitors, sort of like the ambulance chasers, and telecoms companies use cold call advertising. So they'll get your number from somewhere where you may have put it in, and then contact you to try and sell you the service. It can be very, very annoying for individuals, and you may have read recently the issues that the charity sector has experienced with its cold calling processes. Technology has increased quite substantially in this area, and you will find that call centers will have automated calling processes, which means that your number may be dialed and there will be a gap between you answering and somebody else at the other end wanting to talk to you. But it doesn't necessarily have to have a human at the other end. There could be recorded messages that are being sent out as well. The other one, which probably is not quite as bad as the cold calling advertising, is the on-hold advertising. So as an example, you ring up a company and while you're placed on hold, or while it's trying to direct you to the department that you're hoping to speak to, you would hear a set of adverts about the organization that you are contacting. There is an overlap between telephone communications and mobile communications, but the big difference is the technology that's embedded in these platforms, allowing you to utilize apps, text messaging. Although you can get text messages sent to a landline, you can pick up these days your websites through it. And one of the things that you must consider is, because it is mobile, you need to have geo-targeting. And what I mean by that is that if an individual is using a tablet or a mobile phone to search for a location, your map or the map of the nearest store or where you can purchase the product should appear in the search results. Text messaging, another form of direct marketing, like your email marketing process, allows you to send short messages to individuals. The sort of things that you might want to consider is sending a coupon with a code for promotions. It would be useful for reminding individuals of appointments. GPs and dentists use this quite a lot. There could be alerts about software or server stroke hardware issues that are out. Travel arrangements can be linked to this. Just like the other issues of direct marketing, you must allow the individuals to opt out, and really you shouldn't be sending text messages to individuals if they haven't signed up for the process. Another form of messaging is the Bluetooth messaging process, also known as blue casting or blue jacking. Now, this is where you can deliver a wide range of information via a Bluetooth transmitter, and they include text messages, still images, animated images, audio, video, business cards, or even calendar events. The big problem with this is you cannot give the option for people to opt in if they've got their Bluetooth facility turned on and you are transmitting. It may be sent out to an individual who doesn't necessarily want to receive the information. So you could fall foul of the Information Commissioner and the laws associated with direct marketing. QR codes are very big in Southeast Asia, but not so much in Europe or North America. What it does is it allows you to have a small QR barcode which individuals can scan with their mobile devices, and it could send them to a URL, it could have a text message, it could have a telephone number, could have your business card, or a simple message to relay to the individual. Another option that you should consider is augmented reality. And a number of big companies have successfully employed this. Again, one of the problems that you do have is that you need to make sure that customers are aware of the process and they have the appropriate app downloaded onto their mobile device. Speaking of apps, has a huge range of options available to help with the marketing process. It's not just about games. You can monitor health, you can monitor finances, you can monitor travel times, etc., etc. What it does is it links you and your customer, because essentially you would have to have the individual sign up. You can also generate cash from this by getting individuals to pay for the app. One thing that a number of providers also do is have adverts embedded with it in the app. It has caused some problems amongst users, particularly for the younger generations, where you could buy associated elements for either the game or the process that you're looking at, and some children have generated large bills for their parents. So do be wary of this and make sure that it doesn't impact on your brand image. I briefly mentioned the digital screens that are available, and you will see these in your GP surgeries, telling you about information about either medicines or health, or so really social marketing. And I talk about social marketing in the traditional sense of social causes or helping to change health behaviors. There may be interactive screens that are available, and you will see these, as I mentioned earlier, in estate agents telling you about properties that are for sale. There are digital screens which are of the billboard size, or you might see them around a sports event, around the field where the event is taking place. Now, when it comes to B2B, one of the great mediums that is used quite successfully is this process of webinars or web seminars, and it's an ideal way to get your information across. The providers of software use this quite a lot, and they use it as a means to educate their users. What it also does from an operational point of view is that it reduces the costs of people having to travel across continents to run meetings. You can do this at your site with another person across the world. Social media, there is a huge number of options that are available, so much so that I actually want to have a separate session on this to go through the details of social media, or some of the key ones that are available. But this is an ideal way of communicating with your target audience. One of the things that I will say is that if you are embarking on this, and in fact you really should be embarking on this if you want to be a successful organization, is that you have to realize that it is a 24/7 process. So you need to make sure that you can interact with your customers when they contact you. There are a number of processes and procedures that you should consider adopting to make sure that you can provide a 24/7 service to consumers. But it also allows you to build brand advocates who can help with the promoting of your brand. Bear in mind the issue of trolls, and a number of big brands have experienced trolling on their social media platforms, and you need to have contingencies in place to be able to deal with these issues. But as I mentioned, I'm going to go through this in more detail during another lecture. One of the other things that you should consider is web adverts. Now, these could be the variety of different banners that you could employ on your various sites. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go for the web adverts that utilize banners. You could consider Google AdWords or one of the other search engine providers and their AdWords. The advertising is not just linked to websites. You can have adverts on the various social media platforms that are out there as well. So that's all I want to say about the promotional process.